what I'm going to tell you is that, when things go wrong, how can you, try and salvage the situation? So Murphy's law states that if it can go wrong, it will. So you should always keep Murphy's law in your head when you're going for a surgery. And you should also have a thought how you are going to, manage if things can go wrong. It is more about, mental maturity and, as you go in your practice, that, the way you handle complications also gets better. Whereas, when you are early in your career, it gets to you. So why we are using pedicle screws? I mean, the other people have already made it amply clear that they are biomechanically better. They provide 3-column control. They are lower pull-out, complications, higher fusion rates, better correction of the deformity, and maintenance of correction with time. So what are the structures at risk? This is a well-positioned pedicle screw where you can see it is in the body, touching the anterior part of the vertebral body, going through the pedicles, avoiding the canal. So where it can go wrong. So these are the things. So these are the structures which are there. So you can have a aorta in the front. You have got the spinal canal. You've got the visceral organs or lung. Here, and these are the ones which can get affected if you malposition a screw. So basically, this is one of the example of malposition screw where it is encroached onto the canal, where there is a medial breach, frank medial breach is there, which is not just, acceptable. This is another one, where you have a lateral breach and it has gone into, lung and penetrated the lung. And this is where one of the most devastating is when it hits the vessel, because this can be catastrophic and you can have, death on table, which, is a very emotionally challenging thing for any of the surgeon. So where do we need bailout techniques? We have to anticipate it beforehand. And where do we expect more complications? So we should have something in our head, or, with our experience, we can know when we can anticipate these problems. So when our planned trajectory and the first go fails, if we have, dysmorphic pedicles, which are small and narrow and which are sclerotic, and if we are doing deformities such as scoliosis and kyphosis, and if the spine is overtly osteoporotic. So these are the main, pedicle screw insertion technique. Freehand is the most common by using probe or drill. Then the next comes is fluoroscopic assisted screws. Then funnel technique is there. People use navigation for it, and also use electrostimulation device and pedicle screw testing to check the path is right or not. So freehand pedicle screw is the workhorse. It is most commonly done for thoracic and lumbar spine. It is usually accurate and safe also, and it has a lot of literature has been published. So how we can, do and minimize the complications? So first and foremost is the case selection. So we should bite what we can chew. So knowing your limitations is first thing. If we are early in the career, we should not go for like 100-degree deformities. We should start with something simpler, build our confidence, and then, go and build over our practice. You should also know the correct indication and contraindications, because if something goes wrong in the court of law, you will be held why you did the surgery. And if your indications are not right, then you are in a big soup. So always have a plan when you are going. It's not a good idea to just walk into your theater and see what's there. It is always to have a plan, and pre-op planning is essential for flawless execution. So get an appropriate imaging such as, CT, MRI or X-ray, or whatever you deem necessary. Plan beforehand. Go with a systemic approach and be prepared for complications. So you should think about complications. And you should also have a plan B. If something happens, then what are you going to do? At least you should have a working plan in your head. And this plan should, help you in getting it. Such as in this CT scan, if you, can appreciate, there is a small pedicle which is dysmorphic. So you anticipate that it will be difficult to insert a pedicle screw, and you may think of alternative trajectories or using navigation or any other thing which is available at your hand. So always have a plan A and a plan B. Also, for safe execution, you should know your tools. That is the implant system, because if you don't know your implant system, then you may not be able to use it appropriately, and things can go wrong then. And also you should be familiar with the standard manual which comes with the equipment, so that you know what to do if it's not functioning well, and learn to improvise, and don't lose common sense, because that is the most important thing which will save you from a lot of problem. It is your responsibility to know how to use your tools. You cannot shout on the implant guy or the company guy, because the responsibility rests with you of the patient, and the buck stops at you. So please know your tools, and also make sure that they are running well, so that there is not a problem before you start. And WHO checklist, helps you navigate that part very well. Also, we should always focus on teamwork, because sometimes when you are immersed in the surgery, there are other people who can pick up things which can lead to complications. So first of all, you should learn to listen to your assistant, because he's your best guide in the surgery, and also a very good helping hand. So you should always listen to your assistant surgeon. If he has any concerns, you should at least try and address them, whatever he says. Then you should always be in tandem with your anesthetist, neurophysiologist, radiographer, scrub nurse. So it's a team effort which goes into making a surgery safer, rather than being a hero spine surgeon. So first of all, dry exposure is the key. I think Dr. Bhavuk has amply described the ways to keep your operative field clear of blood, so that you can visualize anatomy and you can place these screws well. Please be aware of the alternative trajectories, as Dr. Kamran and Dr. Saurabh have already told you about various trajectories which are available in thoracic pedicle screws as well as in lumbar pedicle screws. So this is one of the alternative trajectory which is extrapedicular, which you can do when you have sclerotic or narrow pedicles. This is another one, which is a cortical bone trajectory, which can help you salvage if the original trajectory blows off. Then there are other techniques such as slide technique, funnel technique, which can help you get through. Also, you should be comfortable with using fluoroscopic assisted screws, because I think 99% of the centers will have a C-arm readily available, and the other techniques such as robotics or navigation are available at only a few handful of centers. And also these techniques are evolving, so the safety is still being tested, though they have become very good now, but still there are a lot of work which is needed. So you should be comfortable with a fluoroscopic assisted screw, because it can help you identify any breaches or any malposition screw then and there. Then you should be aware of a salvage technique, like you should never hesitate to open the lamina, do a laminectomy, probe the medial and the inferior border of the pedicle, and should be able to place screw by visualizing these two areas. And then the intraoperative navigation. It is a very good tool. It is developing, and it is, but it has a high learning curve, and sometimes registration is a problem, and it still needs CT or fluoroscopy, and it is getting better. And a lot of people have started using it now. So these are the various techniques which can help you increase the pull-out strength, especially in osteoporotic spine. You can use a larger outer diameter screws and increase pitch, use of crosslinks, and these are the few screw revision techniques. If you are if your primary trajectory is not satisfactory, then you can use alternative trajectories. You can use fluoroscopy to guide your entry hole. Then you can use a cannulated tap in revised trajectory to dilate and redirect the track, because more than often you end up in the old track. So cannulated tap is a very good idea. Use larger diameter screws of the same size. Use a sharp awl or a drill. So basically most of the people are used to using drill, but a sharp awl also helps you make very good trajectory if your first trajectory has not worked well. And funnel technique, slide technique, you should be aware of that, as I have already told, and use combination of other techniques of screw insertion. And last but not the least, you should not leave the history behind. So you should be familiar in using laminar hooks, sublaminar wires, transverse process hooks, and sublaminar tapes, because these can salvage you if the screws are not working. So it's not bad to know all these techniques, because sometimes or someday they may come handy to you. And the last is never be a hero. You are not competing against anybody. I mean, you will never be penalized for being late in a surgery. But if you have a complication and you are very fast, then that is a done deal. So maintain your cool. If you have a malposition trajectory, be a leader in face of an untoward event. Don't feel shy to accept mistakes. If you're anyone in the theater points out, don't forget to seek suggestions or help from colleague or assistant, be it a vascular surgeon if you have a vascular injury, be it your assistant or any other person who is, who can help you to make the surgery safer. And I would like to re-emphasize patient safety is priority and that should be our number one goal. Thank you.